Well, the Big D is going to Budapest, Hungary for the 2026 Champions League Final as PSG and Arsenal look for Europe's biggest prize. Joining me as he does for every Champions League Final, my friend Charlie. So, mate, we got PSG and Arsenal. If there's one word for this year's Champions League Final, what is that one word?
Hello, Dylan. Thanks for having me on. That one word would be intriguing, I think. Obviously, we all know what PSG can do. We saw it last season, 12 months ago, when they ripped Inter Milan apart 5-0 in the same final. So I'm intrigued to see what Mikel Arteta has learned from that final last year and how he can avoid the same thing happening again to his Arsenal team. Congratulations to Arsenal on winning the Premier League for the first time in 22 years. Funnily enough, you might have seen this, you might not have. In 2000, when Arsenal won the title, they finished second 3 years in a row prior to that, which is exactly what's happened this time. So fourth time lucky for Arsenal in both situations. For the final, it's going to be an intriguing one because the smart money, is on PSG. They are overwhelming favourites, obviously, because they're the reigning champions. They're the better team on paper. But that doesn't mean to say that they will stroll to victory here. I've always said, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it until I die, every game of football is different. It's unique. You cannot base it on what has happened before. It's 1 week Harry Kane, or let's not use Harry Kane as an example, but Dembele could have 3 shots, all 3 end up at the back of the net. Next game, he could have the same 3 shots in the same 3 positions, but the goalkeeper can make 3 saves, and he has no goals. So every game is different. So I'm intrigued to see how Arsenal's set up against PSG. How do you see it? What's your one word for the final?
My word is contrast, because I think these two sides have got contrasting styles. PSG's got that crazy press attack with Kvaratskhelia, with Dembele, and with Doué, with Barcola, the great midfield with Coutinho, with Fabian Ruiz, and I know I'm forgetting someone, right? Yeah, and then of course, I don't know if Hakimi's playing, but PSG only knows how to play one way, and you know how Arsenal play: defend and counter. I mean, PSG can score goals, but also didn't allow many goals this season.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fascinating, and I think experience of a Champions League final is going to play a significant part in this. PSG, obviously, it's the same team as last season. 1 or 2 little tweaks here or there, as you sort of alluded to before. Arsenal have only got 3 players who have played in a Champions League final, and a 4th was an unused substitute when Chelsea played Man City. Can you name those 4 players?
Kai Havertz scored the winner in Porto. I think Kepa was on the bench.
2, yep.
That's a good question. I don't think Manduke played. No, he didn't play.
No.
Thinking. Now you got me thinking. Because. What country did these guys play for?
One is Brazil.
Martinelli. Because Declan Rice didn't play in the Europa Conference League?
Yeah, but this is Champions League final.
I know, it's different. West Ham minus which you could. He could still be a hammer, but that's a totally different. Okay, you got me.
Gabriel Jesus.
Gabriel Jesus off the bench.
Yeah. And the other one, now I don't know if he has left Arsenal or not, but Zinchenko, he's playing for Ajax at the moment. I don't know if he is still an Arsenal player, but he's not going to play this weekend anyway, so it's irrelevant. There's 3 players in this current squad that has experience, but not very much. Kepa was an unused substitute. Gabriel came off the bench, and Kai Havertz, of course, started and scored the winning goal for your team. So I
think Gabriel Jesus came off the bench when Rudiger KO'd De Bruyne.
That's right. Yes, early it was midway through the first half, I think. Yeah, second half was it? Yeah. So there you go. I think experience will play a massive part in this because PSG, it's a massive experience, and I don't think Mikel Arteta has been involved in it. So it's new for him. For Luis Enrique, I've said to you openly before, I love Luis Enrique. I loved him as a player for Barcelona, not necessarily for Real Madrid, but I rate him as a player and I rate him as a manager as well. And it's interesting how many teams now, when they start a match, they kick the ball straight out of play, close to the opposition's corner flag, so they can set up the press. And every team in England is doing that or has done that since he did that a couple of years ago. He's abandoned it some stages this season. I think it might be back now, so we'll wait and see when they kick off for the first or second half, whether they kick the ball directly, deliberately as well, out of play. So the opposition has a throw in close to their own corner flag, and they've got to play their way out. And that's when PSG are probably at their best with the press, etc., forcing an unforced error and then capitalizing on that. Luis Enrique, of course, will be looking for his 3rd title as a manager in the Champions League. Can you name the other managers who have won 3 Champions League titles or more?
Carlo Ancelotti.
Yep, he's got 5.
Pep Guardiola.
Yep, 3.
Now, how many guys have won?
2 more.
No, he only won 2. No, he only won. Oh, I can think of everybody who's won 2, but not 3. Who was the Bayern Munich coach? Heikes? No. Did Fabio Capello win 3 with AC Milan? No, he didn't. Now you got me thinking. No, he only won. No, but he only won in 92. How far back do I have to go for these?
For one of them, a long way back, way before you were born.
Was this like one of the Bayern Munich coaches with like Gerd Müller in the 70s?
Closer to my home.
I see. Oh, dang it. Who's the Liverpool? It wouldn't be the Liverpool. Who was the Liverpool manager back in the day? In like 77 or 78. I can't think of his name. Oh, shoot. You are coming out of the woodshed right now.
I am. I knew you want to be tested, so I had a little think, and I came up with a couple of questions for you. So,
Bob Paisley.
Yes, that's the one. And no, I hope you didn't search for managers who have won the Champions League 3 times to get that answer, because then obviously the second person will.
No, I only looked up that.
It's more recent. It's more recent.
We only won. No, but he didn't win the ring. Oh, yeah. Zinedine Zidane.
That's the one. Yep, that's the one. So yeah, Luis Enrique can join those managers on 3 titles or more, and yeah, it should be a fascinating game. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah.
When we look at PSG, I mean, they've got all sorts of players, but I think we know that Cavachvili is really good. I don't know how they got him from Napoli a year and a half ago, but that's a bargain. Probably the best player not going to the World Cup. I wish the U.S. could adopt him because he's from Georgia. I'm like, can he play the game in Atlanta?
Yeah. Well, he's gone down in history, hasn't he? Last season, he won the treble with PSG, and he also won Serie A with Napoli as well because he played the first half of the season. So that's pretty good. You win 2 league titles in 2 different countries, and the French Cup and the Champions League. So yeah, he is a great player. And I think obviously it's a silly thing to say, but he is one of the key factors for PSG if they are going to win at the Ferencváros Arena. Which I had the privilege of visiting recently, Dylan, as you know. It's a great stadium, and I do have a problem with Budapest holding the final this year. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, the airport's not all that great.
No. The airport was great. Security straight through, no problems at all. If they had waited until next season to have it in Budapest, that would be the 100th anniversary of Puskás's birth. Would that not make sense? Instead of having it in the Metropolitana in Madrid next season?
That would make sense. I mean, you look at...
Come on.
Yeah, that would have made sense, especially with what Puskás did with Real Madrid in the early stages of the European Cup, as it was known back in the day.
He remains the leading goal scorer in Champions League / European Cup finals with 7. And that was in 2 games, Dylan. 2 games. 4 goals in one, 3 in another. He's joint leading goal scorer in Champions League / League Cup finals with Stefano Di Stefano. So I think, next year would have been perfect. Everything would have been... linked up nicely to mark his 100th anniversary of his birth. But when I was there, I knew who he was, but I learned a lot more when I was there. There's a museum at the ground, and my God, his scoring record for Real Madrid, unbelievable. You thought Cristiano Ronaldo was good? Yes, it is. But check out his stats. Phenomenal.
The funny thing is, the Real Madrid fans thought he was too old when Real Madrid got him. Who knew he still could score goals?
Yes. There is obviously the old footage of him playing, and he couldn't play at that age now the way he was. Tom Brady can play because he looked after his body, obviously, in American football. But I'm not going to be disrespectful to Puskás, but what a player. If you do get a chance to go to Budapest, go to the stadium, do the tour, which we did. We did the museum as well, which is at the stadium. It's a fantastic stadium. I have to say it's very similar to a lot of other stadiums around the world. Like it's very similar, I think, to the Ajax Arena, but it's well located. There's no problems getting there. So I just hope the 2 teams can perform, and there's no issues with ticketing or entering the stadium like there was a few years ago with Liverpool and fans, etc. So it should be good.
Yeah, I have one problem with PSG. I mean, it can be so aggressive, maybe too aggressive sometimes. And you mentioned how most of the PSG team is the same. There's one big difference with this PSG team, and that's who's in goal. Maybe more so who's not in goal, because we both have seen Donnarumma win games by basically keeping the other team out keeping the other team from scoring. But Safarov this year, better with his feet, but not been great with set pieces. And I don't know. I think Arsenal set a record from like most goals this year from corners, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's an area they will target. I will have to jump in there about Donnarumma. We have also seen him make a lot of very silly errors during matches.
Game.
So maybe that's why he is not still a PSG player. Luis Enrique saw that he's quite vulnerable at times, and that's maybe the way. And he's a big personality as well, and that's one thing that Luis Enrique did. As soon as he got in there, he got rid of Neymar, he got rid of Messi, he got rid of all the big ego players, and it's now a unit of. It's a team, not a team of individuals. It is a team who play for each other, and it's been documented throughout the season. Kvaratskhelia, he never tracked back in his career, but now under Luis Enrique, he is. In the last minute of the quarterfinal or the semi-final, I can't remember who it was against, in the 90th minute, he was tracking back to stop the opposition from, continuing a move. That was unheard of in his career, and it's something that Messi never did, Neymar never did, nobody else did in that PSG team. So Luis Enrique, again, one of his strengths is reinventing the game, much like Pep Guardiola has. Certainly the way that PSG play under Luis Enrique, you can see why a lot of teams are copying their style, like kicking the ball out deliberately from the kickoffs to press the opposition at the first opportunity. But, you must be gutted that we're talking about Arsenal in the Champions League. What do Chelsea have to do to be a European power? Let me just throw this stat at you, Dylan, before you answer that. Chelsea finished 13 points above the relegation zone, and they were 13 points behind fourth place Aston Villa. So you're as close to relegation as you were qualifying automatically for the Champions League. What do they have to do to get back to where they were? Not that long ago.
I think Chelsea have to keep from getting all the red cards, because didn't the Blues have 11 red cards this year? It's ridiculous, right?
It is. But can I just sort of give a reason as to why that possibly was? Because there was no discipline installed by Maresca or Liam Rosenior or whatever that interim manager. What's the new guy? What's the interim guy?
McCollum or whatever his name.
McCollum, yeah.
I think Chelsea lacked a certain leadership and a certain, enough of this stuff. Chelsea's transfer strategy since the new ownerships come in has been wretched. I mean, Chelsea's spending money and throwing it down the toilet like you don't want to know. I mean, it is ridiculous how this team, and Chelsea's always spent money going back to Roman Abramovich, but Chelsea's not going after finished products. We go out and say, oh, this guy's got potential. This guy's got potential. It's like, if you're going to spend money, why not get Julian Alvarez, or why not get Jared Bowen, or why not get I know Kevin Feely. He looks okay. Instead, we get after guys like Liam Delap. And I mean, I love Cole Palmer, I love Casado, Enzo, but Chelsea's transfer strategy has been awful. And when you look at it, Chelsea's first 4 years under Roman Abramovich, the league finishes were second, first, second. The league finishes under this ownership group 12th, 6th, 4th, and 10th. Not good enough.
No, it's not. It's not. Liam Delap, 30 million, 2 goals.
Problem.
That's all I have to say. Worst signing in the history of the Premier League for me. Worst signing ever. Honestly. He probably got sent off more times than he didn't. Like, he got sent off once, but I don't know what Chelsea saw in him to spend £30 million. And this isn't hindsight, sort of like using what's happened at the end of the season to hit him with a stick. He was never a Chelsea player. He's not. He was at Hull City. for a while, and then he went to wherever it was. He is not he's not a top Premier League team's player. He's not a Chelsea player. He might fit in somewhere else. I can't see him at Man United. I can't see him at Man City. Can't see him at Arsenal. So I can see him possibly at Brentford or somewhere like that. Fulham, no disrespect to them, but he is not a big club player.
Yeah, and also for all the money Chelsea spent, guess what we don't have? A striker and a goalie. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it sure helped having Didier Drogba and Peter Cech for all those years.
Mm-hmm. Didier Drogba now would score more goals than Liam Delap. Fact. I don't know what age Didier Drogba is now, but he would still score more goals in the Premier League than Delap.
Gianfranco Zola would score more goals.
Correct. Going back to the ownership of Chelsea, Todd Boehly thinks he can run a Premier League club like he does the Dodgers in the baseball. Buy a player, whatever money it costs, just buy him, bring him in. Doesn't work that way. Baseball is kind of, it's not a team sport as like football is. You've got your batter, you've got your pitcher, and you've got your fielders, etc. But there's no team unity on the pitch in football where the defense has to work with the midfield has to work with the forwards, etc. The forwards have to come back and help the defenders, etc., midfielders. He has to get his head around that. You can't just buy players because they've done well somewhere. You've got to buy a team that fits. Look at Hull City, right? One promotion to the Premier League, right? You look at that team. There are no standout stars. It is a team of players that want to play for each other. No star players. And that is what Chelsea are missing. They have no unity. Arsenal have that unity because they've kept the squad for the last 2 or 3 seasons. They've been knocking on the door. They've just been tweaking it a little bit. And now they've finally got their rewards. Man City, the same squad year after year. A couple of players leave. You bring in Donnarumma, you bring in Sirke and Semenya in the transfer window in January and things like that to keep things fresh. But Pep Guardiola knows, Mikel Arteta knows, when you're buying a player, it's not just about what he does on the pitch. It's how he can integrate himself into the team and the changing room to make sure that unity and the personality of the team isn't affected by some super ego coming into the changing room and upsetting the balance. That has happened with Chelsea for years and years and years. You look at, I've said this to you before, you look at the likes of Enzo Fernandez, right? Listening to a team talk from Liam Rossinier, and he's thinking, I've won the World Cup with Argentina, and I'm listening to an English manager who has won nothing, and he wants me to get in a huddle around the center circle before the game to protect the ball. It's you have to earn respect. You have to earn respect from the players. Liam Rossinier never did. And that changing room at Chelsea is a disgrace. Tottenham's was the same until De Zerbi went in there. You look at Romero saying he wasn't going to be at the last game of the season. He's the club captain. On the day that Tottenham could have got relegated, he initially said he wasn't going to be there. He was going to go back to Argentina to watch a club game. He did turn up to the game. That stinks. That stinks, Dylan. You got to get players like that out of your club quick. Otherwise, you'll have this conversation year after year, and Chelsea will not win anything. Tottenham won't win anything. I know they won the Europa League last year, but they shouldn't be at the bottom 5 or 6 in the Premier League. They should not. But there are too many players who spoil and ruin the changing room at Chelsea and Tottenham.
Yeah, and maybe after having somebody who's, maybe that character is lacking, having that John Terry, having that Roy Keane, having the try and think, that leader matters, having that Lothar Matthäus, whether it be for Bayern Munich or West Germany back in the day, matters.
You want players for who the club means something to. Chelsea meant something to John Terry and Frank Lampard. The Man United team meant something to Roy Keane and Rio. Sorry, well, yeah, Roy Keane. He's Irish, but it meant a lot to him. Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney. It means something to them. You look at a lot of players in today's game, and it's not, the club doesn't mean anything to them. And if Spurs did get relegated, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those players would have been on the phone to their agents weeks ago saying, if we go down, I want to go to Spain. I want to play for that team. I want to go to France. I want to go to Italy. If we get relegated. You can't. You've got to have a bond within that playing unit that they will do anything for each other to stay in the league. You look at Romero, the number of red cards, silly, unnecessary red cards he had in his time at Tottenham. This season as well, there was one that stands out. I can't remember who it was against, but it was just a stupid red card. In a team that is fighting relegation, that is not what you need from your senior players.
Yeah, and who didn't get a red card this year? That'd be Arsenal. That's why they won the league.
Well, exactly. How many red cards did Arsene Wenger have, as Arsenal manager? I didn't know that Arsenal didn't have a player sent off this season. Good stat.
Well, maybe blame VAR for that because Sky Havertz should have been sent off against
Burnley. Oh, yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, it is.
Gabriel against Man City, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, I'll come on to VAR before we leave this call. Let me ask you a question. What do Arsenal have to do to beat PSG on Saturday in Budapest? Lovely city.
I think Arsenal will have to be brave. I don't think Arsenal can defend for 90 minutes. I think Arsenal will have to attack and make PSG defend. Yes, PSG's front three is great, but you know what? Puskás Aréna is really good himself. Gyökeres brings a physical presence up front, assuming it's him. And you know what? Kai Havertz scored in a Champions League final not that many years ago. And Trossard's been in decent form. I think the midfield's the key with Rice, with Odegaard, and I think it'll be Lewis Skelly in midfield. They have to be dynamic, athleticism, and can't let Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz control the game in midfield. I think also we'll have to make those guys uncomfortable. Maybe make this a physical game, and then Saliba and Gabriel have to be the best center-back partnership in Europe. Otherwise, PSG will blow them off the pitch.
Agreed. Let me just say, we could have a situation where it's Kvaratskhelia against Lewis Skelly. I like that. But I think for Arsenal, they have to score the first goal. That is crucial. Arsenal's record in the Champions League this season when they have scored the first goal is 11 wins and 1 draw. When PSG score the first goal, it's 6 wins and 2 draws. However, even if Arsenal do score the first goal, PSG have shown this season in the Champions League their powers of recovery. They've conceded the first goal 7 times, but won 4 of those games. So it's going to be intriguing. Arsenal have to score first and then try and defend. However, you can't defend and not invite pressure from PSG for the whole 90 minutes. PSG have got players that can create chances at will, left, right, and centre. So I think the only team that could beat PSG is PSG themselves. I know that's a cliche and a weird thing to say, but if PSG play the way they have against Bayern Munich in the semi-finals and throughout this competition, they shouldn't have any problems. But as I said before, every game is unique. You can't base what's going to happen on Saturday as to what's happened in the past. Could be a freak mistake, mislaid pass, lets Arsenal in. They go 1-0 up and they sort of defend for their lives for the rest of the game. So PSG, it's all about PSG. If they play the way we know what they can play, they will win this game. However, Arsenal are still good enough. If they score the first goal, they should be able to see that out with the defensive players they have. Declan Rice, he's got experience of winning a European final with West Ham, now a championship side, taking Hull City space.
It's funny. West Ham thought they could be a Champions League side. Now they're going to be a championship side.
Yes. I'll bore you with this little joke. Obviously, Hull City have won promotion to the Premier League. The team had a parade through the city, and they met all the players on the balcony at the City Hall, etc. And the manager says, I joined this club last year, and I was told I had to keep them in the Championship. I failed. We're now going to the Premier League, which I think is great. It's great. His job was keep us in the Championship, and you've done a good job, mate. He's done even better than that with a team of misfits, a team of players that nobody wanted because they couldn't pay money for players, which is why they've done so well. The management team and the scouts, they've looked at players who can fit into that team, and they've got success with the smallest budget, one of the smallest budgets in the Championship. But I won't bore you with any more Hull City stories. Declan Rice will be a big part. If Arsenal go 1-0 up, he will have to be the calming influence. And Odegaard as well. You know, he's had experience playing big games for Real Madrid in the past. Just calm things down. PSG are going to go crazy with possession. I went back and I looked at the two games that PSG lost in the Champions League this year. Sporting and Bayern Munich, both 2-1 defeats. In the first one, PSG had more shots on target and more corners. It was 6-4 shots on target, 10-2 in corner count, and PSG had 74.6% of possession. Against Bayern Munich, PSG had 9 shots on target to Bayern's 5, and in corners it was 9 for PSG, 1 for Bayern, and they had 71% possession. So it's not as if their 2 defeats in the Champions League this season they were outplayed. They weren't. Statistics show they dominated all the key areas statistically. Shots on target, corners, possession. But, you know, those chances that were shots on target, the goalkeeper at the other end could have had fantastic games pulling off saves left, right, and centre. And that's probably what David Ray is going to have to face this weekend. You know, he's going to be bombarded with chances. So you can look at all the statistics, but if I gave you those statistics, PSG had 74% against Sporting. They had 10 corners to 2, and they had 6 shots on target to Sporting's 4. Who won the game? You would probably say PSG. They didn't. Same with the Bayern Munich game. They had 4 more shots on target, 8 more corners, 71% possession, but they lost the game. So we shall see. We shall see.
And back to the 2024 semifinal, PSG and Dortmund. Didn't PSG hit like 1 million posts in that tie?
Your memory's better than mine. I can't remember that, but yeah, exactly. That's my point from what I said earlier on. You can have all these shots on target. One week they go in, the next week they just go an inch wide. No game is the same. And whatever happens, and I hate this word momentum. Somebody's got momentum going into this final. Nobody has momentum. The game starts from fresh. Obviously, one team will start better than the other. That's not momentum. It's just a team starting the game better. And then it'll go to the other team. They'll tire, and then the other team will have some possession. That's not momentum. It's just the way the game plays out.
Does the experience of also winning the Premier League for the first time since the Invincible team 22 years ago help or hurt the Gunners?
Oh, it helps them. It helps them because the pressure is off them. They've already won a trophy that has been a burden on their shoulders for 22 years. So they've got some freedom. Can you imagine, Dylan, if Arsenal had have lost the Premier League? They would have been shot to pieces. Their morale would be so low because they were genuine contenders to win 4 trophies this year, and then it was 3, and then the next game it was 2, and then the next game, they won the chance of winning the double, but they lost. They were knocked out of 2 competitions in 2 games. So if they had have lost the Premier League, that would have been a massive signal that they cannot cope with the pressure. But now they've won the Premier League, that pressure is off them, and they can have a bit of more freedom. If Arsenal lose this Champions League final, it's no big deal because they've won the Premier League, which is at the start of the season, that would have been their goal. After finishing third 3 years in a row, can we go and win the Premier League? Yes, we can shut up all those critics who doubted us and called us chokers and quitters and stuff like that. We've won the Premier League. The Champions League is a bonus, in my opinion. They've got a great chance of winning it. It's going to be difficult. My money is on PSG to win, but they have a chance. And it would be the best season, and everybody's saying that if this season will be better than the Invincible season, which I agree with, obviously, because not only are you the kings of your own country, you're the kings of the continent. You are the kings of England and the kings of Europe. So,
it'd be the most boring side to win. It'd be the most boring side to win a Champions League final in a long time, right?
It would. Yes, it would. Yes, it was the most boring Premier League team to win the title. But listen, their name is on the trophy. They've done the parade. They're champions for the next 12 months. They could do it again next year with a bit more flair. Let's hope so. But yeah, if you like scoring goals from corners and things like that, then yeah, support Arsenal. Personally, I like to watch PSG and Bayern Munich winning, in a 9-goal thriller. But
yeah, I mean, I wonder how many goals PSG and Barcelona could have put in a 2-leg tie. My answer would have been double digits.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, easily.
Thinking back to Champions League final history, I think there's one game that the whole continent wants to see, and that's El Clasico. I mean, met in a couple semis. I think 2002, 2011. We remember Pepe getting sent off at the Bayern, and then Messi.
Wow, Pepe getting sent off. Who would have thought?
Either Pep. Oh, by the way, Jose Mourinho was also sent off in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But besides El Clasico, what would be a dream Champions League final?
You just mentioned it, PSG Barcelona, PSG Bayern Munich this season. I would have taken either of those. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. I was intrigued a couple of years ago when it was AC Milan and Inter in the semi-finals, but that didn't really live up to my expectations. So if that was the final, I don't think it would have been a good spectacle because both teams would have cancelled each other out. It would have been like 12 yellow cards and 3 red cards. So no, personally, yeah, PSG, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern Munich. At this moment in time, yeah, that's the one I would have gone for. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably remember the 2003 Champions League final between Juve and AC Milan, which was dreadful at Old Trafford. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully we don't have any more controversies like the Hart situation. I mean, that almost broke my heart.
Which one? Sorry.
The one in Scotland. Hopefully we don't have any more VAR controversies like what happened to in Scotland.
No. You've led me onto the VAR discussion now, haven't you?
Yep.
I've said to you for weeks, personally, I think this will be the worst World Cup for officiating. I think VAR is going to ruin it. I mean, the Premier League has been ruined by it, and I've said this to you before. I think the Football Association is delighted that every week there is a VAR controversy because it gets people talking, and they can go to their sponsors and look at their tweets and go, our tweets hit 1 billion readers or impressions or whatever. So give us more sponsorship money because if you put your logo on it, it's reaching a much wider audience. If nobody's talking, it's the same with the NFL. If nobody is talking about the NFL, Roger Goodell and everybody will be very annoyed. And it's the same with the Premier League. If you're being talked about negatively or positively, it's mostly negatively because of VAR. VAR was supposed to make things a lot simpler and a lot easier. It hasn't. It's ruined the game. For me, right? This is a solution to VAR, offside in particular, right? Instead of drawing the lines for the arms and the body parts, Just look at the feet. Look at the feet. If somebody's foot is beyond the other and he's in an offside position, that's it. Don't look at the top body. Just look at the feet. Look at the feet. That's all you have to do. If somebody's leaning that way and he's offside, that's fine. Give him the benefit of the doubt. But the feet, just judge it on the feet, and that will cut out any of this, like, oh, it's his elbow, oh, it's his shoulder, oh, it's his bar, oh, it's a little bit of his backside. No, look at the feet. Right? It's the simplest part of the body. You just look at the feet. You can draw the lines. Which feet is in front, in an offside position and not. That, for me, would make things a lot easier. But they don't want things to be easier. They want people to talk about, oh, did you see that incident in the Premier League? You're talking about a game in Scotland. That's what the authorities want. That's what they want. Oh, look at that incident between Arsenal and West Ham. The goalkeeper, it's like that. Let's talk about it. Let's get people talking about it. That's what the football authorities want. That's what UEFA want. That's what FIFA want. Johnny Infantino, oh my God, how unbearable is he going to be in the next month? Anyway, he's going to be going like, how can we get people talking about this beautiful game, whether it's bad or if it's good?
Yeah.
It's just going to be VAR. I'm going to say now that VAR is going to ruin this World Cup.
And hopefully we don't have another story like 2010 when everybody could see Frank Lampard's ghost goal or Nigel de Jong's karate chop right to the chest.
Yeah. Frank Lampard's goal, they have addressed that. They've got the referees with the watches now and the goal line technology. That was over the line. That was a goal. However, England were cheated, for want of a better word, out of a place in the next round because that was a knockout game. I think it was a round of 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the end of their World Cup. In a game when it was like 1-1 or something like that, England could have gone 2-1 to Germany, I think it was. Would have made it 2-2. So we finally got that addressed. We can't wait another 16 years for VAR to decide whether a player is offside or not with all this nonsense that's going on. We've got semi-automated in the Champions League. Oh, by the way, we're talking about rules and stuff. Penalties that are given in the Champions League for handball would not be given in the Premier League. How is that allowed to happen in a world game where you're playing by two different sets of rules? And now you're going to a World Cup where players are used to one way of playing. That's handball. That's not handball. And now you're being so. Hang on a second. What is handball? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I don't know. Hopefully we don't have any more of those issues.
We will because there's more games, and yeah, it's going to be real.
By the way, you have another question for me. Not trivia question, but you have another question regarding the Champions League and maybe a future host.
What do you think? America should host the Champions League final?
Absolutely, as long as we avoid security issues like what happened the 2024 Copa final between Argentina and Colombia. Yeah, but with what UEFA is basically demanding, there are only 4 or 5 venues: Wembley, Bernabeu, Atletico Madrid Stadium, Nou Camp in Barcelona, and the Allianz Arena that can host a European final, a Champions League final.
Well, what about Budapest, which is hosting it this year? You didn't mention that.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Budapest, Budapest, nothing wrong with the city, but I'm hearing like they're all not that many hotel rooms, and the airport's not all that modern, from what I hear.
Mm.
Although you were just there, and what did it seem like to you?
Well, yeah, but there wasn't 80,000 people making their way to the stadium. We went there on a Sunday morning. It was very quiet, very, very quiet. But no, I take that on board. But you'll find now that teams will regenerate their stadiums up to a Champions League level. I do not think the US will host a Champions League final. You can't compare what the NFL is doing to what football/soccer would do. You can't. Years ago, it was discussed that each Premier League team would have a 39th game played in America. That was shot down. The European Super League, which was kind of the next thing, that was shot down as well. There is no way clubs will vote to have the Champions League final in America. You can't compare what the NBA do, bringing games over to Europe, what the NFL do, bringing the games everywhere. NFL is just a monster of its own. Brilliant monster. I love it because I can get in a car and I can drive to Wembley or Tottenham to watch 2-3 NFL games every year. If I was an NFL fan from those teams like Jacksonville, 2 home games I'm being denied, I would not be happy. And I wouldn't be happy if my team got to the Champions League final and I had to go to a different continent.
But you remember the 2019 Europa League final with Chelsea and Arsenal played that in Baku, Azerbaijan. That was a long trip.
Yes, but there's reasons for that. Now, if you don't know what that means, money. Somebody would have been paid handsomely to make that decision. Why else would you have it in Azerbaijan? However, Azerbaijan, I've never been there, but it hosts a Formula One Grand Prix. So why not? Why not host a Champions League final? Belfast, Windsor Park, home of my Northern Ireland team, that hosted the European Super Cup the year after Chelsea won it. So I do get the fact that they are trying to reach different parts of Europe to have big games, but it has to stay in Europe, personally.
Okay, now my favorite part, trivia time. So I'm going to go. I've got a fun one for you. Which famous Northern Irishman scored the winner for Manchester United in the 1968 European Cup?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
The one and only George Best. Come on, Dylan.
Yeah, I knew you would know that. I'm giving you an easy one. Now the fun one. Since in the last 27 years, 6 Englishmen have scored a goal in a UEFA Champions League final. Name them.
Steve McManaman.
2000 for Real Madrid against Valencia.
Wayne Rooney.
Yes, I think it was 2011 against Barcelona at Wembley. The last Englishman to score in a Champions League final.
Steven Gerrard.
2005, Liverpool, AC Milan, and Istanbul.
I'm chuffed that I've got 3 quite quickly. Were they playing for a non-English club?
Steve McManaman was.
Oh yeah. No, the three that I've still together.
Yes, the other 3 were playing for an English club.
All English clubs, right? Okay. Oh wow.
I'll give you a hint. One of them happened on this day, and it was a pretty important.
Oh God, yeah, Teddy Sheringham.
99.
Okay. Oh yeah. Did you say was that before? Was that part of the?
No, from 99 onward.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna need a clue. Havertz scored for Chelsea, didn't he?
Yes, but Havertz is German.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. Both of them scored for London clubs.
London clubs. Right. Okay. Well, Tottenham didn't score.
Although he did play for Tottenham once. I think he did. Yeah.
Okay. Chelsea, when they played Man United, probably Drogba scored that day. Or did Lampard score? Did Lampard score?
2008, Man United, Chelsea.
So he didn't play for Spurs.
You are gonna be kicking yourself.
Right. Okay. He did play for Spurs. Sol Campbell then, with it.
Yeah, in the game that Jens Lehmann was sent off, 2006, Barcelona Arsenal.
Oh, was that early on? Lehmann got sent off, wasn't it?
Yep, in like the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. That was a shame. That's a shame. But I like Barcelona, and I don't like Arsenal too much, so I was quite happy with it.
I don't think we necessarily like. And you know what? For that matter, I'm happy West Ham got relegated. So.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see if they get out first time. I don't think they'll find it that easy.
Oh.
I don't think they will.
Do you have any other trivia questions for me?
Who scored the first ever goal in a Champions League / European Cup final? So you're talking European Cup final. Who scored the first ever goal? Talking about Puskás and all that. It wasn't Puskás, by the way. But it sort of it made me go back to the first ever game, and I thought, it's a good bit of trivia.
I don't know about my Real Madrid history from 1956 or 1957.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who they played in the first European Cup final?
Benfica?
No. Another French club. By the way.
Oh, what's Rennes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Reims. Yeah, Reims. This is the first ever final between an English and a French team in the Champions League / European Cup. That's hard to believe. But I guess PSG, they've never really got to the final very often. This is the third time.
Yeah, Marseille made the final in 90. In
Monaco as well, yeah.
Well, remember, England sides couldn't compete in the Champions League, in the European Cup after what happened in '85 for a number of years.
That is true. Yep. So,
And then I think that Marseille team had some weird was investigated for maybe throwing games or helping to change the league on results, but not ending with the Champions League that year.
Yeah, I think they were stripped of their title afterwards. But yeah, Chris Waddle played in that game.
Wow. Huh. And I think he was the England reserve keeper in 1990 when England played Germany. I'm like, that's when England couldn't win a penalty shootout.
True. Yeah. He should have concentrated on taking penalties rather than saving them.
Actually, Waddle was England could have made a substitution, and Waddle could have been brought on to replace Peter Shilton because Waddle's a bigger guy. Mm-hmm. You remember the Netherlands substitution when the Dutch brought on Tim Krul, and then Krul made a couple of great saves in the shootout.
Mentioning Marseille reminds me of Jean-Pierre Papin. He was a great player.
Oof. Yeah, I'm thinking, Thierry Henry's going to be in Budapest for that game, and you're like, you know what? Maybe somebody will take that chance that I missed 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. The losing side has failed to score in the last 7 Champions League sides. Does that change this year?
Yes. I'll take that one step further. In the last 11 finals, the team that scores first has actually won. So that's why the first goal is so important.
Particularly for Arsenal.
Well, yeah. But as I pointed out with some statistics there, PSG has won 4 games in this year's Champions League after conceding the first goal. So they won't be too daunted if they go 1-0 down. They will still feel confident that they can go on and win the game, which is why I'm thinking both teams will score in Budapest this weekend.
I think Arsenal's got enough time. I mean, PSG will go in as deserved favorites, but Arsenal with Saka. I mean, if Saka's in form, look out, because I think he could give PSG problems. I think for Saul, I wonder what Gyökeres could do again, or Havertz could do against PSG's backline, because Marquinhos.
I think it's going to be Havertz starting. That's certainly how Mikel Arteta ended the season, bringing Gyökeres off the bench. So I can see Havertz, as you said, with his Champions League final experience, scoring the goal, etc. He should start, I think.
Yeah, but Gyökeres brings physical pressing, was really good against Real Madrid, and offers something different.
Yeah, I get that. But this is going to be a key thing as well. A lot is made over here about the team, the 11 players that finish matches. Usually it's like, you start your strongest 11.
No, you don't.
No, you don't, because this game could go to extra time. You would want to bring Gyökeres off the bench with about 25 minutes to go when the PSG defenders are tired and he's fit and fresh, running them ragged, which could create spaces for Rice to go into, Odegaard to go into, Saka to come in from the right-hand side, Trossard in from the left. Gyökeres can do that when the defense is tired. And I've seen that in a lot of games, not just football, but rugby as well. You bring somebody who's a live wire on with the last 20 minutes or so, and the defense, the big props, etc. Same in American football. If you've got like linemen who are absolutely knackered, just run the ball at them, make them do more tackles, tire them out. So they have to be replaced, and somebody who's not as good as them comes in. And that's part of the game. You look at matchups as how you can gain an advantage on the opposition. So,
and I'm thinking back to the 21 Champions League final. I remember halfway through the second half, Chelsea brought on Christian Pulisic when we were up 1-0 against Man City, and Pulisic was probably the last guy Man City wanted to face, because Pulisic was creative, intelligent, and could run.
It's exactly my point. Exactly my point.
And then, of course, PSG is like PSG's bench unit looks like an all-star team. They could bring Bradley Barcola off the bench and not starter. They could bring on Gonzalo Ramos. They could bring on
Desiree Doué.
Lucas Hernandez. I mean, PSG's got too much depth.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it should be good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and an earlier start time, 6 o'clock. Well, noon here, 5 o'clock in your area of the world.
Yeah.
Which I think it will make it better. Of course. Yeah. By the way, I think Mikel Arteta started his football career, or played part of his football career, with PSG.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm not sure about that, but yeah.
In like the middle 90s.
Yeah, he did 31 games, 2 goals. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Barcelona B team as well. Mm-hmm.
Barcelona B team. Mm-hmm. So, trying to think, who would have been managing Barcelona back in the late 90s?
Oh, wow.
Because I don't think Kroos was there anymore, right?
Louis van Gaal.
Oh boy! And didn't Louis van Gaal have that Argentine player who he never played? It wasn't Messi. It was before Messi.
I'm not sure.
Not that it matters now.
Mm.
All right, mate. You know what? I can't wait for this final, and hopefully, we have no VAR issues. And if somebody wins the game 6-0, 6-0, at least it's decided on the pitch like Germany, Brazil 2014 World Cup.
Yeah,
and
it will be Arsenal winning 6-0. That's for
unless
sure.
PSG had 3 men sent off.
Yeah. Just finally, I'm looking forward to the Premier League next season when this team plays your team, and I fancy Hull City to beat you at the minute.
Well, yeah, because Enzo Fernandez probably going to be in Manchester or Paris or Madrid when we play.
Yep. So we shall see.